Hey, you got anything more to say, Fire Breath?
I will have my vengeance, James Raynor. This is not over.
Well, this ain't a fair fight.
You shall not stand alone.
Well, look what the Nexus dragged in. Fancy seeing you here, cowboy.
Nova? Now this place is starting to feel like home.
Don't get comfortable. You're in for a bumpy ride.
Only kind I ever liked. Come on, Red. Let's see what you got. Round two.
This is Alex Walker from Games on Net, and I thought I would just create this supplement video so you guys can see some of the differences and changes that Blizzard have made to the genre with Heroes of the Storm. So the first one that I wanted to explain is, I talked a little bit about the funding model that Blizzard have had, and it's kind of very similar to League of Legends in the sense that you have an in-game currency that can also be paid for with real money. Now they don't, while it's not like League of Legends in the sense that they have real money and they have riot points, there is a sense that you can pay for real gold, very much like Hearthstone really. But what I wanted to explain is how much gold you actually gain per level, so you get a kind of a sense of the values. As you go through, you won't really see it. You start on level 1, and it's not really until about level 8 that you actually get a full perception of what all the heroes are capable of, because the way the talent system works is that you have, outside of the ultimate skills, which you gain at about level 6, level 7, you have 4 choices each level, and then once you hit level 10 it's spaced out, so it's like level 12, level 15 and so on. So until you hit level 8 you don't really have any sense of what, even if you buy all the heroes straight off the bat, you don't have access to what every hero can do. So once you get to that stage, then you are faced with the choice of, okay, what hero do I want to buy? But even if you complete all the quests and go through all the leveling, you're only getting about 500 gold per level. Now, the base model that they've gone with is most of the heroes are priced around 5,500 gold, which works out to be about $7-8. The cheapest ones are about 2,000 gold, which works out to be about US $4. And the highest priced ones are characters like Abathar and Nova, which are 10,000 gold. Now, I've played all the way up. I'm almost level 10 now, and I've only got about 5,000 gold. And, you know, I still can't even buy one of the mid-range heroes. So that kind of gives you an idea of how much time you actually have to spend playing in-game if you don't want to spend any real-world money purchasing heroes at all. Now, another big thing is because there are no items, there is no gold in terms of the actual like gameplay, you can't buy recipes or anything like that. The talent is a big system because you have to make sure, if you can't have items to shore up your weaknesses, especially in difficult matchups, then you know these talents need to be balanced. So I thought I'd just show you. I've got some footage here with some of the different options you have. You know, I've got some Tastar, I've got some ETC, which is kind of like a Tauren rock god, essentially. Literally all of his abilities revolve around playing a guitar. One of them is actually called a guitar solo, and I think one of the 2 ultimates, he just basically rocks out for a bit and everybody just dances around him in a really tiny radius. It's pretty cool. So anyway, another one of the major changes is that instead of just regenning normally, as in running away to base, there's health globes that the creeps drop. Now, you're shown this in the tutorial, and it doesn't regen your mana, it only regens your health. But every now and again, pretty much once a wave of creeps, or minions as it's called, they'll drop a health globe, which will regen the health of you and also your allies. Now, one of the cool things is a lot of the heroes at the start, one of the 4 talents is that if you pick up 3 health regen globes, it will increase your maximum health regen over the course of the game. So, you know, there is also that element to Heroes of the Storm as well. And another advantage is they have a special building that has a universal cooldown that is just basically like the healing wall that Night Elves had in Warcraft 3, so you could go back and regen your health and mana there. And both sides have one of those, and there's one usually quite close because there's very much like Dota and League of Legends, how there's 2 tiers of towers, and they have like a healing well inside the first tier, and then one inside the second tier. But if anybody uses any of the healing wells, then there is a 1.5-minute global cooldown. Now, one of the other important things to know is that everybody has a Hearthstone, which is basically just your TP replacement. Because you can't buy items, obviously, you don't have a quick way of getting back to base, so the Hearthstone is the answer to that. And that's regardless of if you're a character like Falstad, who can just fly everywhere, or Abathur, who can just tunnel everywhere. All the other characters have like a mount, but everybody comes with a Hearthstone, so you can just quickly pull back. Now, the other thing at the moment is, because this is a technical alpha, which Blizzard, I don't know if they're trying to manage expectations with that word. It's basically, you know, there was a time when alpha actually meant, you know, something you wouldn't show to the public, but whatever, times have changed. But the AI at the moment is just really, really poor. It will run out into creep waves, and especially at the start, it will just attack creeps, and it will basically ignore the fact that it's getting hit whatsoever. You know, essentially everything you're taught not to do when you play a MOBA, the AI does. So if you have any experience whatsoever and you just want to level up really quickly, just play practice games and just stomp the AI. It'll take you about 10 minutes to finish every single game. You can do it with every single hero. You can complete every single quest that you need to that doesn't mention versus games or cooperative games. It's the easiest thing you will ever do in the world. It is really, really bad AI, I should say. Hopefully they will fix it up in the future at some point, but otherwise, at the moment, it's terrible. Now, just the other thing that I wanted to talk about briefly is the different neutral camps that they have. Now, probably actually the best thing about Heroes of the Storm at the moment is that there is more than one map, and usually that's the thing. If in League of Legends you'll have Summoner's Rift, Dota 2 doesn't even have a name for it, for what I understand, and Heroes of New Earth, not that anybody really plays it anymore outside of Thailand, but again, they're pretty much just playing the same Dota map that everybody's been playing for like the last 10 years, more or less. But the different maps in Heroes of the Storm actually have these different features. So one of them has a pirate that you can buy off, and then when you buy him off with enough coins, which you pick up from the neutral camps, and there's chests around, and if one of the enemy hero happens to die with coins and you pick those up, you can sell those too, and he'll start bombarding the other enemy base, and basically every time he does it, he essentially takes out a tower for you, which is really, really useful. Other ones are just standard in the sense that they have mercenary camps. You kill the mercenary camp and then they wake up and then they just go down to the nearest lane and attack for you, and their attack range is greater than any tower, which is really helpful. And there are even some levels with curses, global curses, like I mentioned in the text review, or what they have is there's one with a tribute with a Dragon Knight. So essentially, once you control, there's a map with 3 lanes and there's a shrine at the top and the bottom lane. Once you control both, you can send someone to the middle. They can take over the Dragon Knight, and the Dragon Knight is just a giant golem, essentially, and he just goes, he has a fire breathing attack, he's really tough. It's kind of like the equivalent of getting Roshan to just walk down a lane for you and kill everything inside. It's really, really handy, it's really powerful. A lot of Heroes of the Storm is actually really balanced around that. Just essentially doing, you know, go out to the lane, fight for a little bit, everybody gets to level up because of the global experience, and then there's a battle that sort of happens around the neutral creeps, you know, providing you don't completely lose your lane whatsoever. It is, on the whole, I think that Blizzard have designed it to be a much quicker game than most other MOBAs, and you know, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Well, nobody really knows at the moment because the game is in such an early stage. I mean, mainly the basic issues with heroes, many of the basic balance issues, you know, the maps, the creeps. I mean, especially that one map that has a global curse. That's got to be fixed at some point. I mean, even a whole minute where minions have 1 health and buildings can't fire and they have, you know, half HP. It's essentially if that happens, you know, between two teams, it's game over completely, because they're just going to lose everything against a team that's organised. So a lot of things are going to be changed. The funding model will probably be changed. It will probably also become a lot cheaper. Maybe not a lot cheaper, but certainly a little bit, to come more in line with League of Legends. At the moment, there isn't a local server either, but of course, you know, at the time of recording, there have been a lot of people on the Diablo forums getting, you know, fairly standard pings from Sydney, Perth, Melbourne, on all kinds of ISPs. So it seems, and we're expecting,
Is this Nexus place?
again, at the time as I'm recording this, we're expecting some kind of announcement to line up with Diablo 3. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, this is an alpha. You know, you can play it, you can have fun with it. It's not a replacement for Dota, it's not a replacement for League of Legends, it's not as good as either of them. It has some interesting ideas, it has some other ones that are a bit
So, I'm here to fight
but
things.
either way, this video is just a supplement so you can see some of all of the different aspects of that.
Okay.
So, hope you enjoyed that.
Supplement for me.
Again, thanks so much, and this is Alex Walker from Games.net, tuning out.
About time you arrived, lad.
Is this another world?
Something like that.